This program is brought to you by the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii, a nonprofit organization dedicated to sharing with the community the many benefits of a vegetarian diet. Free monthly meetings include vegetarian experts found locally and on the mainland, quick and easy cooking demonstrations, and healthful and delicious food samples. Members enjoy an informative quarterly newsletter, social activities, and discounts at many vegetarian-friendly restaurants and health food stores. For an application, call 944-8344. That's 944-8344. Or visit our website at www.vsh.org. vsh.org.
Aloha, and welcome to the monthly public lecture of the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii. It's great to see all of you here tonight. The Vegetarian Society of Hawaii, since 1990, has continued to follow our mission of promoting human health, animal rights, and protection of the environment by means of vegetarian education, as we've grown to become one of the largest nonprofit vegetarian societies in the nation. We'd like to encourage those of you who are not yet members, and even those of you who are not yet vegetarians, to join the Vegetarian Society tonight. Our members receive an informative newsletter as well as discounts at Down to Earth and at many vegetarian-friendly restaurants, and may also be invited to participate in popular social events. Just think, if you spend only $8 a week on groceries or on eating out, a VSH membership will more than pay for itself. We'd also like to mention that the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii, together with the newly formed Punahou Environmental Vegetarian Club, had a booth recently at the Punahou School Sustainability Fair held on April 21 on the school's campus, which was attended by as many as 5,000 people, including students, faculty, staff, parents, and other community members. VSH and dedicated student volunteers gave out over 1,000 well-received vegan food and drink samples, as well as information on how a nutritious plant-based diet can help the environment, as well as people's health. We're videotaping tonight's presentation for broadcast on the VSH TV series Vegetarian. On Oahu, you can watch it on Olelo Channel 52 every Wednesday at 11 a.m. and for this month, I believe, on Thursdays at 6 p.m. You can also go to our website, vsh.org, to see videos of this and many of our other previous presentations. You'll also find lots of other great information there, including recipes, our famous dining guide, past newsletters, and even a link to our own Facebook page. It's now time for our special guest. We're delighted to have with us tonight Mike Teehan. Mike is a Star McDougaller 2009 honoree whose personal story has inspired many in Hawaii and elsewhere. In this talk, he'll show how a few changes in food choices and preparation resulted in huge improvements in his overall health and victory in his battle against obesity. He'll show how just eliminating one ingredient from his diet brought his cholesterol down from 220 to 117, and his blood sugar down from 124 to 89. He'll also demonstrate how the low-carb gang is wrong about the effect on triglycerides, as his fell from 150 to 59 while eating a diet of 80% carbs. Mike Teehan is the founder of the Hawaii Dog Foundation, a longtime animal advocate, and a certified plant-based nutritionist. As an ethical 331-pound junk food vegan, he first learned about the science behind healthy vegan eating from our own Dr. William Harris 15 years ago. Eventually, using Dr. John McDougall's low-fat approach, he won his lifelong battle against obesity by losing 176 pounds and maintaining that weight loss for over 2 years. Mike's presentation tonight is entitled Winning a Lifetime Battle Against Obesity. Please welcome Mike Teehan.
But seriously, I am a fataholic. Dr. Bill has told me many times that there are 3 components of food that are highly addictive, and they're salt, fat, and sugar. And I was totally addicted to fat. And I was a junk food vegan. I was a vegan. I was an ethical vegan. My top weight, I was 331 pounds. But Lay's potato chips and Miller Lite are vegan, and that's basically what I lived on. I forgot to thank Dr. Harris, Lorraine, and the Vegetarian Society for giving me this opportunity. I'm not a public speaker. This is the very first time I've ever done anything like this, but I'm passionate about it. I'm especially passionate about the animal rights aspect of the Vegetarian Society. Dr. Harris offered me an apple back in 1996, and that apple had three parts: animal rights, human health, and the environment. But I took the animal rights bite, and I just ignored the other two. And the result was I was a 331-pound vegan, drinking beer and, like I said, Lay's potato chips, peanut butter and jelly, and all the good stuff. After I went to Dr. Harris's Kaiser Permanente vegetarian lifestyle clinic, and I committed for, it was 30 days. I followed Dr. Harris's diet very, very strict. And this is what I looked like at the end of those 30 days. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Who put that in there? Sorry, doctor. I wasn't quite that bad, but it was close. That's not too much of an exaggeration. But it is true. I totally embrace the animal rights aspect of it, and I get emotional when I talk about my dog, because he just passed away. But I learned from him that all animals feel pain, and it hit me like a ton of bricks that what I was giving to my pets, the cows were feeling. Well, most of you guys know the animal rights, the way we treat dairy cattle, and it's terrible. They suffer from so many diseases, and a lot of us, and I did the same thing. I became vegetarian, and I started with eating cheese and drinking milk and stuff. And then I started realizing, and I think it was Dr. Harris who brought to light what those poor guys go through just to produce milk for our pleasure. They're kept constantly pregnant, so they can keep constantly lactating, so we can have milk. Just show a couple of pictures. They suffer from this disease called mastitis. It's just a terrible, painful disease because they're kept constantly pregnant and constantly lactating. So today there are so many options: soy milk, almond milk, rice milk. I just would like to urge anyone who's on that cusp of maybe going vegan from vegetarian. Vegans aren't better ethically than vegetarians, vice versa, but to maybe think about it and maybe make that change. I'm not nervous, am I? The other part of that apple was the environment. I never realized the impact my diet was having on the environment. I just never thought about it. The Gulf of Mexico is so polluted, and I don't understand the technical parts of it. But here's a picture of a cow. 1/3 of all the gases that are causing global warming come from cow methane, cow farts. And we actually have devices that we hook to these cows up to measure their farts. It's just insane. Well, anyway, here's a picture of me a real picture of me at 331 pounds. Basically, how I got from this point to this point is I followed Dr. John McDougaller, and a lot of you guys know who Dr. John McDougaller is. His program works. His program works very well. No, but in this picture, I was a vegan. And this was a party I threw for my mother on her 70th birthday, and it was vegan. All the food that you'll see in this picture is vegan. And there I am, making sure nobody's taking too much of the food, so I make sure that I have some of it. And now you can see the food is gone, so I'm leaving the party. I have nothing. Okay, here's another picture of... I kind of get sick of myself when I look at these pictures, because right now I eat more food in volume than I did when I was eating to get this beautiful body you see in front of you. Here's a chart that Dr. Harris graciously made for me from my actual medical record. You can notice at 308 pounds, when I first saw Dr. Harris, I had been bigger than that. I was a vegan for all of this time over here. I was a vegan. And right here where you can see that, I don't know what you guys can see up there, but where you see that steep drop off, it was from one simple change I made in my diet. And it's one change, and it's all I did, is I eliminated added fats from my diet. It was very easy. It was a little bit of a pain in the neck to learn how to stir fry in water and cook your hash browns without oil, but it can be done. It can be done, and I did it. People warned me that my triglycerides were going to shoot up because starch turns to sugar and sugar turns to fat, but it's not true. It's not true. My cholesterol dropped from 280. My doctor, you see 280? My regular doctor never even told me that my cholesterol was 280. I didn't find this out until I went and got my records for Dr. Harris for this presentation. I'm surprised I didn't have a heart attack. They told me my triglycerides were going to go through the roof if I ate an all-vegan, high-carb diet. It didn't happen. It went from 200 down to 59. My LDL, same thing, down. All of this from vegan diet. All of this, the higher numbers are from 280 pounds, and the lower numbers are after being a low-fat vegan. In this picture here is when I first started maintenance on the McDougaller program. And everybody told me, oh, you're too skinny. People were whispering to my best friend, my inspiration, Pam, behind my back, oh, is he sick? Is he anorexic? Nobody ever worried about my health or where I was getting my protein from when I was 330 pounds smoking 2 packs of cigarettes a day. Nobody cared about my health. But as soon as I got 5 pounds underweight, everybody was worried that I wasn't getting enough protein or enough vitamin this or vitamin that. And then the best thing about losing the weight was I was able to pick up and carry my best friend. I couldn't do that before. And I was able to and he was getting older there, and he needed my help. And I was able to give it to him. A lot of pictures of my dog, sorry about that, but he's the love of my life. This is the book that changed my life. You can get it on Amazon.com. This book will show you the volume of food that you can eat when you eliminate oils. You take a baked potato, 100 calories. Put a pat of butter on it, 200 calories. Simple math. You can have 2 baked potatoes for 200 calories, or you can have 1 baked potato. 2 baked potatoes will fill up your stomach, and you're not going to be hungry. There's another great book by Dr. Esselstyn. Many of you know who Dr. Esselstyn is. He's a heart surgeon, and working, I believe it was the Cleveland Clinic, one of the top heart clinics in the world. And he saw, and if you read his book, he's got pictures of people's arteries actually opening after a short time. I'm not exactly sure how much. Arteries actually opening. Before and after, like I showed you before and after pictures of me, he's got before and after pictures of arteries opening. Simple change in the diet. Eliminate the added oils. Another book is for local people who like local eating, local style food. We have Dr. Shintani. We're so lucky that we live in Hawaii. Dr. McDougaller's interned here. Dr. Shintani's right here. And we have Dr. Harris, who's been preaching this for how many years now? And it only took me 15 years to listen to him. There's Dr. Harris's book. This book was a little bit above my head. It's a little bit technical, but once you read the other 3 and you start learning about nutrition, you understand it. And you go, when I read this book the second time, after losing all the weight, I read this and I said, oh my God, he was right. It's like I had a brainstorm, like a light bulb went off. Then Colin Campbell, the author of the China study, heard about my story. Well, Dr. McDougaller honored me and made me a Star McDougaller. I kept the weight off for 2 years. Colin Campbell Foundation offered me a scholarship. They have a plant-based nutritionist course. It's very expensive. I couldn't have afforded it, but he gave it to me as a gift. I'm very, very proud of this because it took me 55 years to get my first college credits, but I was so into this, I did it and I passed. Thank you. I touched on it a little bit earlier, but I don't know why people are the way they are today. I know it's advertising companies, McDonald's, and they're always pushing fast food down us, but this cartoon is real. This happens to me all the time. These big people who obviously aren't healthy will ask me, where do I get my protein? I don't understand it. Dr. Harris has explained to me, meat is not protein. There's protein in meat, but spinach is 47% protein by weight, by calories. Yeah. I mean, later on, I have some slides of Pam's recipes, and all of them, you reach your nutrient RDA before you hit your calories. You meet all of your nutrient requirements, except for B12, and Dr. Harris was always pushing that Red Star. How many of you guys have heard of Red Star nutritional yeast? It's great. You just add a teaspoon of it, doesn't change the flavor of it, and you reach your B12. I have had my blood test done. My B12 is fine. Every blood test I have is fine. But yet I get people who look like the people in this cartoon coming up to me, asking me, where do you get your protein? I'm always tempted to say, I know where you get your fat. But I'm not judging. I spend most of my life on the right, so it's my right, on the right side of this. And I was that guy, too. I get it from my mom all the time, who's not in the best of health. She's overweight. And she's worried about me, where I'm getting my vitamins. When I first lost the weight, she was calling up her sister, who lives 5,000 miles away, telling her, I don't know what I'm going to do. Michael's anorexic. He's going to die. I don't know what I'm going to do. Meanwhile, she's sitting there eating hamburgers and smoking cigarettes. So it boggles my mind. But I like this cartoon. I've been on this side, and I'm on this side now. I've been fat, and I've been thin, and trust me, thin is a lot better. Dr. Harris made this slide for me. There are only 8 essential amino acids. They're all present in plant foods. There used to be, when Frances Moore Lape's Diet for a Small Planet, a great book back then. But she had everybody worried that you weren't getting the proper mix of essential amino acids. So if you had rice, you had to have beans. If you had wheat, you had to have corn or something. But it turns out the research shows it's not true. All the essential amino acids are in plant foods. This is how a vegan diet causes weight loss. And this is the good part. I'm seriously, when I first picked up Dr. McDougaller's book, he said you can eat all the potatoes you want and not gain weight. And I said, oh yeah, I'll show him. And this is true. I went and I bought a 10-pound bag of potatoes, and I stuffed myself silly. I did. I didn't put any butter on them, or just maybe a little mustard and ketchup, and I just ate them one after another. And the next day I woke up and I lost 2 pounds. And I said, that son of a gun, I'm going to get him. I'm going to try sweet potatoes tomorrow. And it worked with sweet potatoes. I wouldn't be standing here today. I'd still be thin because I lost the weight if it wasn't for my best friend, Pam. She inspires me. She motivates me. She gets me out of the house. And what we do is we go around sampling vegan foods and seeing where we can go into like regular restaurants and find vegan food. It's hard, but it can be done. But this is what I had at Loving Hut. Look at this, the plate of food, the brown rice and the vegetables. They told me there was no oil, but I think there was a little bit. And it was delicious. That whole plate, I think I figured it out to be like 350 calories. It's all of that food for only 350 calories. Even I couldn't finish it. McDougall always tells you that you fill up your stomach before you meet your calories if you eat these types of foods, and it's true. Where you just can't eat anymore. I know because I've tried. Hard Rock Cafe, this was a challenge for me. There was a benefit for, I think it was the AIDS walk, and a friend of mine asked me if I would help them out. So what they did was for the volunteers, they threw a lunch for us. And I couldn't find anything vegan. I couldn't find anything vegan on the whole place. So then the veggie burger, I just kept asking them, and they told me it was vegan. They assured me it was vegan. I asked them not to cook it in oil. They promised me they would. And this was kind of funny, but it's true. So I figured I could get away with the veggie burger. It may not be the healthiest choice, but it was a choice. The waitress came running out. Just as I was about to take a bite, she said, "Don't eat that burger." And I said, "Why?" She said, "The bun is not vegan." I didn't eat the bun, but the burger was pretty good. This is Pam. Pam started based on the program that she saw my results. Because we've been friends for a long time. We just became close. She was the caretaker to my dog when he was dying. She was his mother, his nurse. She started the diet just last November. She's lost 60 pounds since last November. I'm going to ask you to stand up. I hope you don't mind. This is her now. And this doesn't do her justice because she's even thinner. This is Pam. Six months, 60 pounds, off the cholesterol medication, half the blood pressure medication, off the blood pressure medication, and she's just doing great. She's doing fancy. She's doing a lot faster than I was. I went with her to her doctor appointment. Her doctor, lovely woman, doctor, very smart, obviously, a little bit heavy. She says to Pam, "Oh, I want you to stop eating so much starch and start eating maybe lean fish, lean chicken." And I'm thinking to myself, does this lady see that her patient just lost 70 pounds? And you're standing there and you're a nice lady, but you're still a little bit big. And I think she's not going to allow me back in the doctor's office because I'm a little bit opinionated especially when it comes to Pam and her health. But that's the problem. That's the problem today. I just showed you my numbers earlier. My doctor never told me that I was 1 point away from diabetes. I didn't know. I didn't know my cholesterol was it's my fault too. I should have asked. But I just assumed that I'm vegan, I'm healthy. It's not really true. It's not a cure-all. Especially when you do it for the reasons that I did, the ethical part of it. Because you're still hungry. You want to save the cows and the pigs and stuff, but you still want to eat. And I keep going back to Lay's potato chips and Miller Lite because I lived on it. I lived on it constantly. And cigarettes too, of course. This is how Pam lost this weight, and we live in the same complex, and nobody believes us. They want a pill, or this one woman told me that, where can I buy the food? They want a powder, something. This is what Pam eats when we go out. Look, do you see that plate of food? And trust me, hand to God, she eats that whole plate. And she's been eating like that since October, and she's lost 70 pounds, and she has all of those tremendous results. Wendy's, where can you go? Where can you go eat? Tofu. Yeah, you got to be a little bit careful because some of the like they have this Asian salad, it definitely has oil in it. So I would say, by the way, we brought a handout on added oils, and it's by Dr. McDougaller. And he explains it a lot better than I do. So I figured rather than me mumbling my words and stuff, we left a handout there if anybody wants to read exactly why we don't eat added oils. And of course, you can always ask Dr. Harris. One thing that all of these guys, not kissing up, but these brilliant life-saving guys do is, besides for saving animals and helping the environment, is they all have one thing in common: added oils. They're killing us. Even if we're not overweight, they're killing us. They're clogging our arteries, they're causing cancer, and they're highly addictive. When Dr. Harris told me that, I didn't believe him. I honestly didn't believe him. But the first time I made hash browns using Mary McDougal's recipe, it's a pain in the neck. You don't put any water in it. You buy the frozen hash browns, you put them in the pan, very low heat, stand there for 5 minutes, pick your ear, watch the TV show. Go back, turn them over. They're delicious. And the calories, the difference is amazing. When you heat oils to a certain temperature, and I'm not sure what they are, but Dr. Harris probably knows, they become highly carcinogenic. The added oils are killing us. If I could only say one or two words to you guys, and a lot of you probably wish that's all I would say, just eliminate one thing from your diet. It's added oils. They're just killing us. What I read about it is that they took people who were consuming corn oil and oils like that, took them off the corn oil, the regular vegetable oils, put them on olive oil, which is monosaturated, and their numbers got better. But then, when they took people who didn't consume any oils and gave them olive oil, the numbers got worse. So it's not that olive oil is good, it's that it's less bad than some of the other oils. No, all oil is 100% fat. It's extracted from the food, and it just becomes 100% fat. Coconut there's not a problem with because it's got the fibers attached to it, and even I think Dr. Harris was telling me that coconut milk isn't too bad. I'm not too sure about it, but coconut oil, it's just oil. It's 100% fat, and in fat, and if you have a weight problem, fat is 9 calories per gram, where protein and carbohydrates are only 4 calories per gram. So it's more than twice as much. I like what Dr. McDougaller says about coconut oil. He says it's great for your complexion, it's good for your skin tone, for your color. Take it out of the bottle and rub it on your arms and rub it on your face, but don't put it in your mouth. But that's all I did. I was a vegan, and I was 331 pounds. I get to keep repeating myself, but that's the only message that I have. I'm trying to fill up an hour with one message. I was a vegan, a 331-pound vegan. I stopped eating oil, and I lost weight. It just came off. One of the problems I touched on earlier is when we would go out, we couldn't find anything to eat. We'd just be going all over the place. And so one day, we decided to walk into Wendy's and see what we could get. And we were actually able to eat relatively healthy in Wendy's. And this is what we had. We had a baked potato. You have to tell them dry. You have to tell them absolutely dry, because they'll say dry, 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 and you come back, it'll be drenched in oil or butter or sour cream. The side salad, and we always bring our own dressing, fat-free dressing. Dr. Harris really enlightened me on these so-called fat-free dressings. They're not fat-free. A Wishbone, fat-free Italian. And I think this slide is in here. This fat-free Italian dressing is actually 30% fat. Do I hear 20? This thing is loaded. All of its calories are from fat. There's a little trick that they use, and it's, oh, I can't wait to talk about Pam. This is fat-free Pam. I'm going to talk about the other Pam that's not fat-free. Sizzler again. Sizzler. The standard. Baked potato. Look at the size of that salad. And, of course, the bigger plate you'll always know is always Pam's. That's the one in the back with the baked potato, the apple, the fruit, the everything. There's a really good nutritional piece of software. It's free online. Chronometer.com, if you can see it. What it does is you type in what you eat, and it'll tell you everything, your vitamins, your minerals, fat content, protein content. When I first went on McDougaller, when I first really committed, 2009, January 1st, I committed to McDougaller, I ate this 5, 6, 7 times a week. It's easy. Favorite quick meal. Here it's steamed broccoli and potatoes with Red Star yeast. You just mash them up, layer them in a pie plate, microwave on high. Take any vegetables that you like. Steam them until tender enough to mash. You mash them up good. Layer the pie plate. Then you take mashed potatoes, mashed sweet potatoes, any kind of starch. I've even used taro, which is really good. And you just spread it out on top, pop it in the microwave, put ketchup on it. It's delicious. And Dr. Harris did the nutritional breakdown, and on all of Pam's recipes, and we didn't make the recipe to do this. It just so happens that they did. I was a little bit shocked when all of the recipes came back. The red arrow you see here is the calories. And when you eat any of these recipes, you meet all of your nutritional needs, according to the RDA, before you meet your calories. So that's why vegans lose weight, especially fat-free vegans. You can't gain weight. You must, like Dr. Esselstyn says, he challenges you. If you eat fat-free vegan food, vegetable food, not talking about Boca burgers and mock meats, whole foods, you just cannot gain. It's impossible to gain weight. Your stomach doesn't stretch like people say it does. Your stomach is full, and guess what? You haven't reached your calorie needs yet. There's a whole bunch of the recipes, and Dr. Harris was kind enough. This is so good, this corn chowder. Onion, potatoes, corn, bring it to a boil. Pam, actually, I wish she'd come up and talk, because she's the one who makes them. I just eat them. And I eat them a lot. And we eat like this every single day. The thing about the soy milk is you got to be careful with soy milk, because I've been reading the ingredients a lot, and a lot of soy milk has added oil. I don't know why they feel they have to put oil in soy milk. And there's a whole bunch of other milks now. Pam actually likes the Almond Breeze. Almond Breeze is very good. Yeah, you guys like that? Yeah. Coconut milk. Coconut milk is delicious. Dr. Harris always explains fat from plant sources. It's not bad. Coconuts, avocados. The problem for me with those type of foods is I eat. I love to eat. And I'll overdo it. If you tell me I can have avocados, I'm not going to stop at one avocado. I'm just going to eat them and eat them and eat them. But if you don't have a weight problem, or you're not a fataholic like I am, have a little coconut milk. It's not going to kill you. And Down to Earth sells a big container of coconut milk that's only I shouldn't say only, it's 5 grams of fat per serving. For me, the problem with that is 5 grams of fat, 5 times 9, 45 calories that I can easily overdo it with. Minestrone soup. I'm getting hungry just looking at this. I'm telling you, that's how good these things are. And what I really like about all of these recipes is I can just eat them and eat them and eat them and eat them. I've met my match. Nobody could out-eat me. You know, I could out-eat anybody I've ever met. I can't do it when Pam cooks. I just can't do it. I get too full. I leave food on my plate. If you knew me, you'd go, nah. But I do. I've never done that before in my life. The minestrone it's the same thing. This one looks like it's exceeding the calories, but it's not because there's like 25 servings in it. But again, you'll meet all of your nutritional needs according to the RDA before you overdo it with calories. Potato chips. I really needed to find a potato chip because I love potato chips. Lay's used to make what they call the fat-free potato chip, and I got them and I bought them, and I thought I was in heaven. They were delicious. Then I read on the ingredients, olestra, and I was wondering why I was getting really bad stomach aches. So I found a recipe. Pam perfected it. You can use parchment paper, or they sell these silicone mats. Slice the potatoes very, very thin, put them on either the parchment paper or the silicone mat, and you just microwave them. You got to really be careful and watch them, though, because they can burn really quick. And we gave a couple of these potato chips to Pam's granddaughter, who doesn't have a weight problem at all, and she loved them. These are really, you could put a little garlic on it, onion, whatever. And it works with sweet potatoes. Oh, I love to do it with Okinawan sweet potatoes, too. And you can have your potato chips. While you can eat these and still lose weight, there's no fat. There's no added fat. I had a bag of Lay's potato chips, an empty bag. The whole bag had like 1,900 calories. The same amount of potato chips, these, do it yourself if you think I'm not telling the truth, 200 calories. 200. 1,700 calories in savings, and I ate my bag of potato chips. We do have a mandolin. I guess you guys know what that is, and it slices them really nice and thin. And the thinner you slice them, the easier they are to cook in the microwave, or on parchment paper or the silicone paper. So what we did was we put up a website. As people, especially, I don't know what it is. I lost 176 pounds, and people were talking about how anorexic I am and sick and call the paramedics. Pam lost 70 pounds, and everybody's, wow, you look great. Hey, tell me how to do it. Just because she looks like she looks, and I look like I look. But what we did was we put up a website. Just all the recipes are there, some testimonials, some before and after pictures. It's really fun doing the website. It's not quite as good as VSH's website, but we're trying to build it up. We have a support Yahoo group. What else did we? We're on Facebook now. I feel like a kid. I'm on Facebook. Oh, and what we're going to try to do too is we're going to try to start a support group for people who have problems with overeating, and with this maybe get together once a week. If anybody is interested or knows somebody who's interested, or just let us know, give us your email address, and once we get it going, we'll just meet together once a week. We'll be our version of Weight Watchers or something. Because especially if any of you guys know any kids, it's hard being the fat kid. It's really hard being a fat kid. My name is Mike Teehan. My whole life, I was 2-ton Teehan. Now it's tiny Teehan. But my weight has fluctuated up and down. I mean, I was in the Marine Corps, and I was, nice and thin and trim, but 6 months later, I was back up to 300 pounds, and I went on Metafast and got down. I lost 30 pounds in a month on Metafast, but I gained something on Metafast. Kidney stones. Oh my God, that was the worst pain I ever had in my life. It's from the too much protein. And of course I wrote to the company, oh no, you must be doing something else, it's not our fault. You can't survive on diets like Metafast. How long can you drink shakes or buy Nutrisystem meals? I've done it all. And so again, back to some of the recipes, these broiled tomatoes, I think Doctor put in the calories. That whole plate is only 131 calories. And again, you eat that plate of tomatoes, broiled tomatoes, and you're going to fill up your stomach before you meet your calories. And that's the whole thing. It just keeps going back to that. And I eat this every single day, no matter what. I make sure I eat it. It's just I call it my everyday salad. If I'm out and I'm not going to be home to get it. I'll go into Safeway and I'll buy the ingredients and I'll make that salad and I'll eat it. So I have to make sure I get my greens, because you know who, if you don't eat your greens, you hear it from Dr. Harris. I have to admit, I haven't tried the Red Star yeast on my salad. It's like my sacred salad that I ate every day. It's kind of symbolic to how I lost the weight. So I'm going to try the B12 on it. But this one's, look where the arrow is now, where you meet your calories. It's just lettuce, spinach, carrots, peppers, tomatoes, and sweet onions. If any of you guys don't like the soy milks or the almond milks and stuff, I hear that a lot. I got to have milk on my cereal. So my mom's a perfect example. She has to have milk on her cereal, but she likes bananas. So what I did was, and I got this from Dr. McDougaller, you take a frozen banana, half a frozen banana and a half a cup of water, throw it in a blender, and you make banana milk. She loves it. She hasn't had anything on her cereal since I showed it to her. And it's good. And if you want it thicker, put in more banana. Thinner, more water. Okay, we wanted to talk about this fat-free dressing. This stops so many people from losing weight. It really does, because for some reason our government has allowed companies, food manufacturers, if it has less than a half a gram of fat per serving, they're allowed to call it fat-free. This has 0.499999999 grams of fat per serving, and so they can legally say that this is fat-free, but it's not. It's 30% of the calorie. Oh, okay. Oh, from there you can't read the label. Okay, but number 7, soybean oil, which is 100% fat, rounded off from 0.499 grams of fat down to 0, so they call it fat-free. There's 9 calories per gram of fat. 4.99 times 9 is 4.5 calories from fat. Total calories is 1 serving, 2 tablespoons, 15 calories. 4.5 divided by 15 is 30% fat. But yet they're allowed to call it fat-free. So what I had done when I first started this, the whole bottle. I mean it. I would do it because I love it. And that's why he picked this one. The biggest joke is Pam, not you. Pam, the spray. I don't know. Those guys should be arrested. That's 100% fat. A serving size is 1/10 of a second. Can anybody do that? I can. I tried. If you open that thing up and you pour it out, it's pure oil. Read the ingredients. It'll say canola oil, or now they have olive oil or something. It's 100% fat. You can't do it. They can call it fat-free because what they do is they say a serving size is less than half a gram. A serving size is 1/10 of a second of a spray. Can anybody do that? I can't. This is Dr. Harris's recipe for salad dressing after he busted my bubble on this Oriental salad dressing that I really like. It's tomato and cucumber in a Vitamix. I guess this would work in a regular blender too if you don't have a Vitamix. The yeast. And even this salad dressing meets the nutritional RDA before you meet the calories. And you just keep going back to that because that's the secret of weight loss. I eat this every single day with my salad, every day, and just as important as the salad is my banana ice cream. I love this stuff. I wish I had a big vat of it to give everybody a sample. You'd see how good this stuff is. All you do is you take frozen bananas, Dr. McDougaller recommends that if you're trying to lose weight that you limit your fruits to only 2 a day. Not because fruits are bad or anything, but because they're so good, especially for people like me. I could eat 10 bananas in a sitting. I could. And that's 1,000 calories. But I take 2 bananas, or if you're not too worried about weight control, and just freeze them. Fat-free soy milk, or it even works with just a little bit of water, and you just put them in the blender. You got to start real slow on the blender. It comes out. I don't know if you guys can see this, the creaminess of that. The only thing that's in that, 2 frozen bananas, about 3/4 of a cup of soy milk. If you're really worried about calories and fat, you might want to go with the fat-free, or maybe use, you know what I've used also, a little bit of orange juice. It comes out like a creamsicle. It is so good. And cocoa powder. And cocoa powder does have fat, but it also, you can buy in Down to Earth, you can buy the fat-free Wonder Slim cocoa powder. But it's a whole food, so I don't worry about it too much. And it's like 10 calories a teaspoon. It works with all fruits, too. It works great with mangoes. But I'm addicted to the bananas, and I eat it every day. Pam makes a big thing of it. I don't understand it. She puts it away for the next day. I'm never able to do that. It's always gone the very day we make it. Like it says, you can, and then what you can do is you can make banana, pineapple, you can make tropical. This was my saving thing at the end of the night when I'd be sitting at home and Mom would be eating Haagen-Dazs. I would break that out and I would feel, and it's just as satisfying. It really is. And I know I doubted it when I heard it until I tried it. It is just as satisfying as ice cream. And you can eat twice as much. You can eat twice as much. Pam has a lot of recipes here, and they are awesome, but this is my favorite. These potato wedges, there's not a drop of oil in them. You could season them any way you want, and I could eat these for breakfast. I could eat them for lunch. I could eat them for dinner. Sometimes if you're always looking for a snack in the car, I take them. I put them in a little Ziploc bag, and I eat them in the car like I used to take Maui onion potato chips and eat that in the car. Now I take a bag of these and eat them in the car. God forbid I should drive 10 minutes from Safeway without a snack. Well, here's the recipe for it. But even Dr. Harris was a little bit surprised, am I right, when even these potatoes, you meet your nutrient RDA before you meet your calories. It just happens. It just proves Esselstyn's point. You cannot get fat, you cannot gain weight if you eat whole, no added fat, plant food. It just can't be done. With all these recipes, I keep mentioning that you meet your RDA for nutrients before you meet your calories, but you've probably noticed that we're always deficient in one, and that's fat. And that's a good thing, and that's what keeps us trim and healthy. Another recipe, Pam made this salad, and it's basically whatever you feel like throwing in it, you throw in it. You create your own salad, and the way she makes it, I would recommend you try it. It's lettuce, bamboo shoots, beets, tomatoes, cucumbers, pineapple, carrots, mung beans, and just throw anything you want in it if it's whole vegan plant food. Again, look at how low it is in calories. This is a really good example of it. One of the things I should caution is, and how Dr. McDougaller is always saying, is that you can, if you really start getting extreme, that, I want to lose more weight, and you just go overboard on the vegetables and forget the starch, you're going to be so hungry, you're going to go off, and when you go off, you're going to go way off. So it is important that these salads are great, is to have things like those potatoes, the baked potatoes, the potato chips, brown rice and things. The starch is very important. He talks about the 3 approaches to weight loss. Rapid weight loss is where you have 2/3 vegetable, 1/3 starch. Moderate weight loss, which is what he recommends and what I followed, is half your plate starch, half your plate vegetables. And slow weight loss is 2/3 starch, 1/3 vegetables. And sometimes when I'm losing weight a little bit, I don't want to lose anymore. I'm kind of, first time in my life, I can't believe I just said that. I don't want to lose weight. I've never said that before. So I kind of eat more of the starch. That was kind of hard for me too, because when I got down to where I finally leveled off, I still had that mindset of, because I'm always on a diet. I got to lose more. And then maybe I could have easily become anorexic. I could have. But again, Pam stepped in and intervened. She had an intervention, kind of. Which she does all the time, she tells me. We're out, and she'll be getting the plate. There'll always be rice on my plate or potato on my plate. A couple of days before I finalized the presentation with Dr. Harris, I had some fruit in the freezer, and I didn't know what to do with it, and I just threw it in a blender, put a little bit of soy milk, I blended it up, and I had it for breakfast, and it was ice cream. It tastes like ice cream. Up here you see the Haagen-Dazs ice cream. Look at the numbers on Haagen-Dazs. So now you can see the difference between using vegan whole fruit. Well, of course, fruits are vegan. You can see the difference between ice cream and this. And you can 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate, 9 calories per gram of fat. So you can eat twice as much of this as you can of the Haagen-Dazs. And a lot of times people will say, Yeah, but the Haagen-Dazs tastes so much better. It doesn't. It really, once you get accustomed to it, it doesn't. In the beginning, you fight it, but it doesn't. Mexicorn, that's another great one. That's one of Mary McDougal's recipes. And if you guys are really interested in recipes, we're trying to build our website and to have a lot of recipes. But Mary McDougal has some great recipes, and a lot of you know of the McDougals. And she has this one book, Bagels Without Oil, Hash Browns Without Oil. Conclusions: a whole food vegan diet is a reliable weight loss strategy because nutrient needs and your stomach are both filled before your calories. I kept saying that over and over and over because, to me, that principle, it saved my life. You saw my numbers. I didn't even know I was headed straight for a heart attack. My mom's family, atherosclerosis runs in their family. It doesn't. What runs in their family is every day for breakfast, bacon, and then the toast is bread fried in bacon fat. That's what runs in our family. Don't eat a third of the apple. We talked about the apple. And I didn't touch too much on the environment and animal rights because, I'm still guilty of the environment. I'm learning more as I go. I'm trying to learn more. But I do know about carbon footprint. And I just based on my limited knowledge, I know that if you adopt a whole food vegan diet, your carbon footprint is going to be a lot less. And animal rights, it just goes without saying. That I remember back in the 70s when I was dabbling with vegetarian, it wasn't that much of an issue. It was an issue, but nobody was really into it. But the way they do it today, they have to feed you go into McDonald's. I'm so shocked by this stuff. I wanted to get a side salad, so I looked up. I just wanted something. I looked at the side salad, and the side salad was $2.69, $2.50. And that day they were having a sale on their apple pies, was 50 cents. So I was thinking, you can go into McDonald's and you can have a full sugar, 200-calorie soda, a hamburger, and an apple pie for less money than I can go in and get a handful of lettuce, a half a tomato, and some carrots. It's ridiculous. Okay, does anybody have any questions? The question is, am I saying that you can eat all the starches and rice and vegetables and whole foods and not gain weight? And I'm being challenged on that. I can tell you I did that and I lost weight. The problem is you have to analyze your diet. When a lot of people tell me, well, I eat potatoes, but they put a little bit of nothing added. Oh, okay, yeah, that's the way you have to do it. Because if you remember, Beverly had said she'd like to challenge that concept that you can eat all the whole grain starches and vegetables that you want. And I don't know what you mean by challenge. You're going to try it. And is that all you're eating? I don't have the answer for that. And I'll tell you why. Because I showed you on the slides where the amount of potatoes. Dr. McDougall, I don't know if you guys have ever seen, he takes replicas of stomachs and he puts them up on the table. And it's an average-sized human stomach. And what he does is he takes, I don't know what your calorie needs are for the day, but mine are about 2,000. And you cannot fit 2,000 calories of potatoes into my stomach. It just won't fit. Well, the good thing about, excellent question. What if you, Beverly asked, what if, not at one time, what if you eat it throughout the day? The good thing about eating whole grain plant food is that there's a lot of fiber. It takes a time to digest. It takes time, so you don't empty your stomach right away. I do this. Sometimes and Pam will tell you, I drive her crazy with it. I can gain 5 pounds throughout the day. I go to sleep, I wake up, I'm back down to where I was. I lose it overnight. So I don't know how to answer that question because I've never seen this not work. I've never seen it not work. What you might want to do is like I talked before, to speed up the weight loss, you might want to go half starches, half vegetables. Increase your green and yellow vegetables. The gentleman asked if I didn't mention if I still drink beer. I don't, but for other reasons. But I've seen Dr. McDougall have a beer. Beer is actually, I don't know if I should say this or not, but my problem with beer was 2 beers, give me the pizza. It was goodbye McDougall, hello McDonald's. So it's not that. I've seen McDougal in some of his videos having a beer, and he'll tell you it's fine. Yes. How do you get rid of the cravings? Because still crave things like pizza and stuff like that. Well, what I did was I took Dr. McDougal up on his challenge, and I just stuffed myself silly. Now, pizza is hard, but I did find a way because I'm from New York. I'm a pizza eater. Might not be your cup of tea, but what I did was he has a recipe for what he called potato pizza. And he takes one of those big potatoes, those big, huge baking potatoes, slices them thin this way, and then he puts pizza sauce, that squeezable bottle of pizza sauce. It's good. It's fat-free. It's vegan. If you're watching salt, I'd make sure that it's not too much. But going back to that first night of McDougal, where I said I'm going to take him up on his challenge, I just stuffed myself silly. So I didn't. You might have to say goodbye to the pizza, unless you want to try that potato pizza thing, and just take the foods that are allowable and just overdo it on them. Really overdo it on them. And I'm not telling you to get yourself sick or hurt yourself, but fill yourself to capacity where that cravings go away. And they did. It took me a while to get rid of some of the cravings, but what I've been, and Pam, you made me want to talk to her. She is so good at taking recipes, regular recipes from Woman's World and books like that, and converting them into low-fat vegan recipes. Pizza's a tough one, though, because of the cheese. It's really a tough one. How do you saute without using oil? It's hard. It's hard. But it can be done, and it's well worth the effort. A little bit of water, sometimes a little bit of balsamic vinegar, and the key is low heat, and constant monitoring. It's tough, but it's well worth it. Well worth it. And you can actually, like when Pam sautés broccoli and cauliflower and things like that, you can actually, to me, it tastes better now. You can actually taste the broccoli and the cauliflower. You're not getting that greasy, slimy taste. So it can be done. It's just a little bit of effort. Okay, we got to stop. Sorry. I can still answer the question, though. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much. I hope so.
Thank you, Mike Teehan. You really inspired all of us tonight, not only with your amazing story of victory over obesity and poor health, but also with your wonderful tips and tempting recipes. Really appreciate that. If anybody wants to ask Mike for more of his tips and recipes, and also for his good friend Pam, who also provided us with a great handout tonight. Really appreciate that. So really appreciate your coming tonight. Right now we invite you to enjoy some delicious vegan foods provided for us by Down to Earth. And mahalo to all of you for coming. Have a safe return home tonight. Good night, everybody.
This program is brought to you by the Vegetarian Society of Hawaii, a nonprofit organization dedicated to sharing with the community the many benefits of a vegetarian diet. Free monthly meetings include vegetarian experts found locally and on the mainland, quick and easy cooking demonstrations, and healthful and delicious food samples. Members enjoy an informative quarterly newsletter, social activities, and discounts at many vegetarian-friendly restaurants and health food stores. For an application, call 944-8344. That's 944-8344. Or visit our website at www.vsh.org. vsh.org.